So yeah, Fox, if you wanted to carry on the call that we just had, or well, basically I wanted to do a bit of a one-to-one with yourself, but I suppose now it's on the group call with everyone.
Yeah.
I want to try and give you as much advice as possible to kind of where you are right now to take you to that next level. Just for a bit of context, by the way, again, none of you guys are obviously there. We just recorded a quick one-on-one interview for a YouTube video, literally like a couple minutes ago before this. And one thing really stood out that Fox said is some of you guys were on this call, which was only like 2, 3 weeks ago. When Fox had just joined, he said, look, like how I'm here. Doing about 1K a day. How can I get to 10K a day? And yeah, one of the things that I said was like, dude, you just need like more chatters. And that same day, he went and got an extra chatter, and instantly started making more money. Now he's on to the next one, and so on. But anyway, nevertheless, Fox, kind of where are you at with the agency? What do you think are the biggest things that you could improve on? And let me give you some advice.
Yeah, so I think it really is gonna right now. Like I have one model running full time. I've got a second model signed. I've got conversations with a couple others that are what I'm looking for, right? With the models I'm looking for models that make a lot of money in subs, but don't make that much money in chats, right? And I would love to poach them, just grab them and plug a chatting team in, and it's like that's an easy scale. But realistically, what I'm looking at is, with this model, we're pacing 20K this month. Like we're at 19.6 overall since March 25th. But the thing that I'm noticing is that let's say I have two chatters, right? And I have one VA that runs a couple of social media platforms. That cost associated with those two chatters for one model is a little high because you have an hourly rate, right? So I think realistically for me is if I get a second model, it's going to help me with my profit loss a lot
Yes,
because those two chatters can manage two creators at the same time.
correct.
That's probably their limit to where I'll need to hire a third and then promote one,
Yeah,
and then hire another one under it, right? So I'll
yeah.
really have a full chatting team at that point. So I think that's really going to be a next step once I get the next model. But other than that, I think realistically, for me, I'm kind of doubling down on what works. So for
Mhm.
my model, like her Instagram, just her personal Instagram and her Reddit. I mean, we're fucking ripping the roof off of Reddit, dude. She's just perfect for it. So I think realistically for me, the biggest things are like trying to make sure I don't have that like shiny object syndrome, right? Because I'm just focusing on the systems that work. I don't even post reels right now. She posts reels and I tell her to do one a day, and sometimes I get it, sometimes I don't. So
Yeah.
I think definitely there we can improve. Like we have
Mhm.
a second page set up for her on Instagram to funnel like the conversion. But I to be honest, I think the biggest difference that I need help with right now is like understanding what the crescendo looks like, right? Because there's a lot of effort I've put in right now with this model, but if I stay consistent and I continue to put that same amount of effort, if I just kept the same effort that I'm doing right now, how much do you think my model is going to grow, right?
Mhm.
Like not implementing more systems, not doing like, because I think it's either that, just continuing to work on what's working right now, or it's taking on more overhead, which is hiring VAs and training them, which is part of my time, and getting them to a point where they're running the systems how I want them to run it, right?
Mhm.
Like, for example, Reddit. If I hired someone to run my Reddit, I want
Mhm.
them to run it exactly the way I'm doing it because it's working, right? But then
Mhm.
there's an overhead associated with that.
Yeah.
And if I have that overhead, then I need to take the time that I now have free from doing Reddit and build out another system, which I think that next system for me should either be dating apps or it should be Instagram, like a mother slave Instagram setup.
So
So
I get where you're at, and I get your question, bro. So in an ideal world, if you can guarantee that this one model that you currently have, doing like 19K a month already, if you can guarantee that she will stay with you no matter what and she will not leave, then yes, putting kind of all eggs in one basket, as that saying is, putting all the effort into just this
mm,
one client, there is absolutely nothing stopping her from doing 60, 100K, 120K. Past 120K, don't get me wrong, obviously it's physically possible. There's people out there doing 800K, a million a month. But typically we see around 100, 120K when things start to plateau. So physically, like that would be fantastic. The only risk, and it's like a very fucking big risk, bro, is obviously if God forbid something happens. And by the way, when I say something happens, out of your control. an accident happens, or she gets a boyfriend, or she splits with her boyfriend, whatever it could be, which is physically out of your control, right? Maybe she has to travel somewhere, she has to fly somewhere. You see what I mean? All of a sudden, if your entire business and entire company is dependent on only one person, and again, God forbid something does happen, and it is out of your control, and you physically cannot make money, or that person leaves or stops working with you, that's too big of a risk to take in business, bro. It's literally like you cannot do that in business, right?
Yeah.
So you are already thinking in the right direction, which is minimizing the risk and also increasing technically the ROI per staff member, which is to take on more clients. The
Yeah.
very good thing with your situation in particular is, by the sounds of it, you are pretty close with this client, right? Like you know her on a personal level.
Yeah.
I think,
Extremely close. Yeah.
yeah.
Like
So
I've
that's
known her for 5 years. Like she's locked in. She's never made this type of money before. And like she will, there's no way. We talk about it all the time. Like there's nothing that's going to come between our business. So
yeah.
yeah, you're definitely right there for sure.
And she's all in. Okay, so that's very good. But nevertheless, I would still recommend at least having one or two more clients that you take on.
Mhm.
And here's the thing, bro, because you're in a very fortunate position where you are already making good money and it's working. For the existing client, you just, like you said yourself already, just double down on what's working. So if Reddit is going well, create more Reddit accounts, get more Reddit virtual assistants, right? Post more content. Try and think
Yeah.
of more niches that she could go into, maybe some cosplay or whatever it might be, and simply keep building that. And then
Yeah.
again, you could look at little things like you said yourself there. If she's posting reels every now and then, well, what about if she just done it daily? And all it takes is just one reel to get 1 million, 2 million views, and that's an extra couple hundred subs, you know?
Yeah.
Now, with the clients that you could potentially take on, those one or two, again, because you are in a fortunate position where you're not desperate for clients, you get to be very picky on who you take on. And I
Mhm.
really understand why, like what you're looking for, which is, okay, somebody who has huge upside, aka let's just say they make 5K, but it's like 2,000 from subs and 3K from messages. Okay, that's incredible. You know for sure, even if the
Yeah.
subscriptions stay the same, you can get them to 10K a
Yeah.
month or more.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. 100%.
yeah.
100%. Like yeah, 100%.
And those are out there, bro. And those are absolutely out
Yeah,
there.
for
So,
sure.
so
I've
then
met
the
a couple
next
already.
thing,
Yeah.
so then the next thing you could look at is, well, what does your client acquisition process look like, right? Is it just
Mhm.
yourself that sends out the messages, or do you have somebody that helps you? You know, if it's just yourself, then bro, I mean, that takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of effort, and also there's a very high chance that you miss leads. You forget to follow up with people because I mean you're fucking busy, bro, right? So maybe it's a case where you look at, okay, maybe we could hire somebody, nothing too crazy, somebody from South Africa. Like, just so you know, we have client acquisition staff members from SA, from Cape Town, from Johannesburg.
Yeah, they're great.
Um,
One of my chatters from South Africa.
there you go. Yep. And they're happy with like $800 a month, because the currency exchange in South Africa is very good, for them. So that could be another thing you could look at, right? Is hiring somebody to do some client acquisition for you. They log into your Instagram, don't worry, like no one's going to ever fuck with your Instagram, especially if you get them to sign a contract and they send you a picture of their passport, like they're not going to do anything. The worst thing that they could do is maybe archive or delete some posts, but like, why would they do that? You're literally paying them, like
Yeah.
they're a staff member, right? So definitely that is something that you could look into. But yeah, I would not recommend, I don't think you are looking to do this anyway, but I would not recommend now taking on like 4, 5, 6 clients at a time. Yeah, you don't need to do that.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think it's a one-step process, right? Because for me, like this is the knife I'm holding. I think on one side of it, it's like, okay, great. I have a couple systems built out that are running pretty smoothly. Like my threads and my Twitter are ran, by a VA and they do a really good job. And I sit and train with them every other day. But then it's like at this point, some things are streamlined. Like Reddit is getting to a point where I could probably hire a VA and they could step in and run that Reddit account, or we could run 3 Reddit accounts. But on the flip side of it, it's like I probably need to continue to build my systems out with my model. I need to build out someone that can handle posting reels, and then also like maybe build out like a dating app scenario or like Instagram and TikTok together under one VA, right? And then once I have these systems built out, I know that VA that probably runs TikTok and Reddit, I mean, not TikTok and Instagram, they could probably handle 2 models, right? So once I have all these systems built, then when I grab my next model, it would, yeah. But
Yep.
I don't really want to grab, like, I have a model lined up that's basically, I told her she wanted to start fresh. So I was like, okay, cool, I'll take a chance on you. I said, here's all the content I need. Get this done and I'll launch you. No problem. So I'm waiting for that to happen, right? And she's perfect. She's the same niche as my model, which is goth, emo, punk. That same niche, the same niche. So I know all the subreddits, I know what works, everything, right? So it's going to copy and paste. But when I grab that second person, it's like, do I have are my systems built well enough to be able to handle that and continue the crescendo? Or am I going to have to go pour all my time over here and then neglect this model a little bit to where now we're doing, $700 days when we should be doing $1,200 days, right?
Hmm.
So for me, it's like kind of balancing that in a way where I have to make sure that my systems are bulletproof enough to be able to step in to the next level of my business. And that's kind of like that cost association I was telling you about when it comes to scaling. Because
Hmm.
realistically, it's going to cost me money to have like I have one model and I have like three VAs and two chatters, right? That's a huge overhead for one model, especially
Hmm.
if you're doing like 25K or 30K a month, which I should be at next month,
Yeah.
right? So then I think that next step is making sure that next model I do take is
Mm.
basically enough to cover my overhead getting started.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that's really what it's going to take for me. That's kind
Are
of what I
you
have planned out right now.
are you folks, are you also building out like training documents? Like are you on a Google document and you're recording videos going over how you're doing
Mhm.
it and why you're doing it?
Yes. Yeah. So I have it to where I don't have to do too much hands-on training. And then we're doing the same thing with chatting as well. Like there is a chatter I have that is really good. And he will ultimately basically be a chat manager at some point,
Yeah.
and he can handle training everyone because I really didn't have to train him much. I talked to him, gave him pointers, but he knew everything he needed to know. The second chatter we had, we did have to put a lot more training into her.
Sure.
And I think that's a really good point too. I think guys, like if you're getting chatters, like you need to pour 2 hours a day into them every
At
day,
least.
and
Yeah.
you need to show them how to chat, how to get better, how to understand American pop culture or British pop culture, whatever it is. Because like if your employees are failing you, it's a reflection of like how well you run a business, right? Like if they're failing, it's because of you. Like there's no one else's fault other than your own, right?
Yeah.
So that I take that really seriously with my chat team. And so I have constant correction with them. But
So
yeah, I think
this
realistically that's where I'm at
so
with trying
this
to like take that next step.
so folks, this first guy you said who didn't really need much
Mhm.
training, is he the one noting down like what he's doing, how he's doing it, but like in a step by
Yeah.
step order or not yet?
Yeah, he will basically like we make sure like when we hire, like we hire talent, right? I will go through 20, 30 people. I will take the time to really find someone good. And the second chatter I hired just kind of came from a spot where she like was just wheeling dealing PPVs. Like all she was doing is just selling PPVs and like not building rapport, not doing any of that. And so we dialed that back. I was like, okay, I don't care how much money you sell. I care about your unlock ratio. I
Mm.
care that you're above a 60% or a 50% unlock ratio to make sure that the PPVs you are sending are going to get bought, right? And they're
Mhm.
not going to get spammed out because we only have 350 subs. We don't really have that many subs, in my opinion, with
Yeah.
what we're where we're trying to get to, and we can exhaust our whales really easy. So because they're already tapped out, right?
Hmm.
So for us, like my main chatter, Jose, like his job is to make sure, like I told him, we're gonna build the system's gonna get a little bit bigger. So I need you to start building these things out, what it looks like, and then create the training documents. And he will basically do like training with them. Like they'll basically follow his same shift for the whole shift, and they're gonna do training with him. I'm okay with spending the
Yeah.
money to train somebody because it's
Yeah.
always going to cost you overhead to hire somebody,
Yeah.
but it has to be done like right. And he's right on par. Like there's really not much I
Yeah.
have to point him in the right direction. So I think number one, a good takeaway is make sure you're hiring talent. Like
Yeah.
don't hire the kid that barely has a good internet connection that you can barely talk to, that the interview was
Yeah.
spotty and like you just need a chatter. Like don't waste your time. Just
Yeah.
really dig through and find some good chatters. And then when you find some good ones,
Yeah.
point them in the right direction and take them on your shoulder and train them for 2 hours a day. I
Yeah.
think that is so important.
Yeah, I think the takeaway as well, what Fox said there is don't be afraid to like interview 20, 30 people just to hire one. So I think a lot of people, I know it might seem like common sense to some people, but for some people, they really do think that, okay, I've interviewed 5 people, this is the best guy. But trust me, like that might be like a C player, not even a B player, you know? So don't be afraid to interview more people. But yeah, I think Fox, for yourself then, bro, like piece of advice from myself is start documenting how you're doing things, why it's working, essentially putting these training documents together. Because when you do hire the next staff members, it's a lot quicker and easier to train them, which then ultimately saves you time and you're able to automate certain aspects of the business. And
Mhm.
then, yes,
Exactly.
this girl, once she's ready and she's created the content, that can be your next client that you're slowly scaling. But
Yeah.
everything sounds like it's going to plan. Like I'm very, very proud of the results that you're getting, and it's just simply a testament to how fucking brilliant you are in both work ethic, how quickly you think and you take action, and also yeah, just you literally said before this call you work till like 2 a.m. Like people don't see that, but people will see on Discord that you're doing like 20K a month in your first month. But yeah, there's a lot of work that goes in the behind the
Yeah,
scenes.
yeah, for sure. One question I wanted to ask you is when you take on like new models, how like do you normally like let's say there's one like if she obviously like if I catch a model that has an agency already, do you just try like to compete with that offer that they have currently? And with what's like the best expectations you really try to set with them? Because I feel like if they're willing to leave another agency, they're willing to leave yours. And normally they leave it because they have like issues inside of that agency, right? And
Yeah.
so how how confident do you kind of have to be with like your systems to be like, yeah, let's go ahead and do this, right? Because like if there is a scenario that comes along where I catch a model that's just at the right time that wants help, what does it really mean to like grab that model? Because you can grab a model that's got 50K followers on Instagram and immediately
Yeah.
inject cash into your business. But if some of your traffic systems aren't set up the right way, you could potentially
Yeah.
lose her, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
No,
I'm
I
just
get you
kind of curious
totally.
of like what the balance looks like, right?
Yeah, yeah. And you know what's crazy? This is a true story. Like on everything I love, this literally happened, I think 2 days ago, or maybe it was yesterday. I think it was 2 days ago. I jumped on a call with a girl, and she was doing about $32,000 a month. And long story short, it would have been a great another income source, for the agency. And she was open to 40%, right, at the end of the call. But she was one of the most rude people that I've ever spoken to. And by the way, I'll get to how this will relate to what you're asking, by the way, Fox, in just a second. Like, she was genuinely so fucking bland, so disrespectfully rude for no reason. No reason. I didn't say anything bad. I was being very polite, very professional, like just a normal call. And for a bit of context, I understand. I think like I'm trying to justify it in my head. I think the reason why is because she just had very, very bad experiences of agencies, and they've always promised her the world, and they've always made her less money. And she's kind of at a stage where she was just like really pissed off with them, etc. and blah blah. But like the point here being is that she was super fucking rude, and towards the end of the call, it was like a half an hour call. She essentially, I wouldn't say she definitely agreed on 40%, but she was like, okay, 40%, yeah, I could do with that. Because 50, she was like, absolutely fucking not. And then I explained to her why we charge 50%, and I showed her all of the results. I showed her all of the testimonials, everything. I shared my inflow, everything. And she was like, okay, yeah, like 40% makes sense. And you know what? I said, look, I'll be honest, I actually don't think you're a good fit. I wish you all the best. I really do. I have nothing against you, but just based on our conversation here, I genuinely don't think that you'd be a great fit for us to work with you. So I'm going to end the call here, and I'll leave you to it. And we just ended the call there and then. And how is this related to what you're saying there, Fox? Is because sometimes, and this only comes after like loads of fucking experience. And to be honest, once you do have I wouldn't say I have fuck you money, but I have good money behind me where I'm able to like turn down clients because I know she would have been beyond a fucking nightmare. Even if we helped her go from 30,000 to 60,000 in the first month, she still probably would have complained throughout the entire 30 days. And it just wouldn't have been worth it. Like it genuinely isn't worth it. So to bring it back to the question that you said there, Fox, is when you are speaking to prospects, I'm assuming this is before you sign them on, right? When you're kind of in that
Yeah.
interview phase.
Yeah.
When you are speaking to prospects and they're leaving a previous agency, and it can be multiple different scenarios, whether they're leaving an agency, maybe they've never had an agency, or whatever it could be. There's kind of like, well, yeah, there's kind of two main things that we look at. Number one is how well do they fit within our agency, and can I genuinely imagine working with them? Or they're just honestly so rude and disrespectful that I couldn't imagine working with them. Which, by the way, is very rare. It is very rare, but like it does happen. And then, of course, the
Yeah.
second thing that we look at is yeah, the potential, right? Which is obviously what you're asking here about, Fox. So when it comes to potential, of course, like one of the most obvious things that we look at is what are the ratios at right now. That's one of the first things. It's very easy to see that. The second thing we obviously look at is social media because this is very easy to see how often they're posting, where are they posting, how many followers do they have, what do they actually do, what kind of content, how many pages do they have, and then also like what do they do on a day-to-day basis. Do they think of all the content themselves, they edit it, they post it themselves, because all these different things I'm thinking, okay, well, we can automate all of that for you, we can come up with the ideas, we can edit, we can post for you, and all these different things. Now and this is all very, very basic, most of you guys know this. Now where there is a big where there's a lot of value where a lot of people don't really think about before they sign on a big client. And by the way, this is only really for clients that are making kind of 10,000 a month or more at least, is in the actual account, how is that being ran? And what I mean by that is how many mass messages, how many mass pay-per-view messages, are they being unsent or not? So like, because a lot of agencies, they don't do that. They will just send mass messages and mass pay-per-view messages, and they will not unsend the previous ones. And yeah, if that's been happening and you come on board, like you can try, but most of these fans and subscribers are going to be inactive because they've just been spammed with messages. So they're fucking tired, right? Another thing we look at is what is the price point that people or the previous agency have been sending these mass pay-per-views for. Because if they've been sending it for $15.99 and it's a full nude video for like 3.5 minutes, or worst case, like an actual sex tape for like $20, if the fans have adjusted that and they've been used to spending that much money, look, I'm not saying I'm not going to take on the client. I will still take on the client, but I will make it abundantly fucking clear that yes, we are in the game to make you more money and we will increase the prices, but we're not going to go from 20K to, from $20 per mass pay-per-view to like 75 or even 50. No one's going to buy it. So you have to gradually increase that mass pay-per-view price. Again, depending on the scenario, right? But in that instance, 100%. So those are the main things that we look at on the actual account itself. Does that already kind of answer your question, Fox, or is there other things that you're looking for?
Yeah, I think that really helps understand because like for a lot of it, it's like it gets really intricate, right? Like when you're taking on when you then make that transition because that's the biggest thing that I kind of worry with because like I don't know if I will catch models, but once I get later down the line where I'm catching models that already have an agency and I'm kind of poaching at that point, then it becomes a little bit of a different ball game. Because once I don't have an agency, it's kind of just, hey, like let me wave this magic wand, right? And I have my systems built out well enough.
You know, another thing, Fox, another thing that, and for all of you guys, another thing that you guys can see yourself, and again, this comes with experience because you start to kind of see things very quickly and you start to put a clear picture together very, very quickly, like after you got a bunch of experience, is this happens like very often, by the way. You'll jump on a call with a prospect and she's looking to leave her current agency and you'll say, okay, well, like, I'm just curious why, like, why have you jumped on a call with me? And we actually ask that question. I nearly ask that question all the time. It's also a bit of a power dynamic. It switches because it's like, well, you tell me why did you jump on a call with me? You clearly are interested, so why, right? Anyway, and a lot of the time the answer is along the lines of like, well, they're just not making enough money and they're not bringing in enough subscribers and etc. And then you're like, okay, why do you think that is? Oh, well, they're just, I don't know, just not posting enough, etc. And okay, well, why do you think that is? And then you go down this rabbit hole and you soon behold realize that, well, and not always, by the way, obviously not always, but there is quite a lot of times where if she was honest, she just hasn't been fucking doing the content. Like she just hasn't, you know. Maybe she's been on holiday or maybe whatever. It can be a fucking million different reasons. And you can see this yourself as well on social media. If before the call, before you jump on a call with them, if you just quickly, just literally 5 minutes before the call, you quickly have a look through her reels and her account. Okay, how often has she been posting? Because if it's like 3 times a week, you have to address that. Maybe it's the agency, but unlikely. It's most of the time, it is actually the creator that is just, I wouldn't say lazy, but just, you know, they're just not doing as much content. So the point I'm making here, Fox, is if you're on a call with a prospect and she's like, yeah, I want to leave this agency, they're just not bringing in enough subscribers. You know, if you then ask, okay, well, why do you think that is? And maybe it's because it's not posting enough, etc. Why do you think that is? If she is, you know, if she's honest and she says, look, like I've just been busy or they just don't send me content ideas and it takes me too long to create the content, that's no problem at all. There's no issue. But if she's trying to like say some bullshit about, I don't know, like, I created content 4 weeks ago. It's like, okay, what about last week? What about today? How many
Yeah.
scripts do you create? All these things you must understand. Like, do they actually have the time to do it or not?
Yeah, I think yeah. So it's kind of like qualifying them. You almost have to qualify them yourself to make sure they're a good fit. Yeah. I think one last question I really have for you is
Sure.
when you're building out your separate systems, like let's say your Instagram and your TikTok and all those systems, what is your kind of delegation process with them? And how do you know it's going to be set up for success? Because to be honest, I don't really do Instagram. It's kind of we funnel it. Like the crazy thing is, and I think I may be missing like a part of the bag here, but it's like we funnel everything like through threads, through Reddit, through everything. It's her link is her OnlyFans and her Instagram.
Yeah.
That's it. And we funnel everyone to her Instagram. So her Instagram is her main traffic, but I don't think we're like doing the best job because I'm letting her run it, right? Like I let her run her Instagram and she doesn't post as much as she should, but it's our highest converting platform. It out converts Reddit right now by about 25% or 30%. But do you think that I should take that step and like funnel it to a spot? Because she's not going to let me run her Instagram. I ask every week, right? So should I just funnel them to her spicy page and kind of like really pick it up there, or should I keep it on her main page and then on her spicy page just start ramping reels? Like,
When
what do
you
you think I
say
should do in that scenario?
when you say funnel it, where from? I'm just confused.
So basically, like her get all my links, they come from Reddit, they come from Threads, they come from Twitter, and they all funnel to a link that has her OnlyFans and her main Instagram account.
Oh
Like they
no,
go,
just that. Yeah, yeah, just the OF link on there. If anything, actually, bro, if she's happy with this, instead switch it to beacons, and that will automatically redirect. So whenever that person clicks on that link, it will automatically redirect them over to OnlyFans.
yeah, you can do the same thing with get all my links. But
Yeah.
it's kind of just like I don't. The thing for me is like I want to build like the social presence on her Instagram, but I don't want to like kind of make that link only a conversion scenario. I may need to split test it for a week and see what the difference is. But I think what's happening is like we're incubating a lot of our people that aren't ready to buy yet. We'll incubate them on Instagram. And then when she posts a link on her story or they find out like she's actually real, like when they come from Reddit and they give themselves that authentication, like this girl is running her own stuff, then they convert. Because
Hmm.
I noticed like in my data, when I look at like where they're coming from and like where my traffic is, my Instagram, so imagine my Instagram's traffic is like this, right? My
Mm.
Reddit is right below it at the
Yep.
same parallel.
Yep.
Like you can almost see that like they're coming from Reddit and going to Instagram,
Hmm. Hmm.
like in a way where they're verifying she's real, but then they're also converting later on, right? Because
Hmm.
if Reddit was outperforming, then it would make sense, but
Hmm.
it's not. It's underperforming her Instagram still. So I think if I take that away, the other platforms will outperform her platform, but it could hinder us in the long run because we're trying to incubate those people that could be subscribers in the future. Does that
Yeah,
make
I see
sense?
what you no, no, I see what you mean, and there definitely is truth to it. I think it depends on the how much is a subscription fee.
$5.
Yeah, I think that's fine. Anything more than like $7, $8, that's when yeah, you typically want to start to nurture them. So you want to go and take them from this platform to this platform, make them look at some highlights, some reels, and only then they'll convert. But if it's like $5 or more, a lot of the time, and this is what we do, like we do not make them go from Reddit to a social media platform or from Twitter to Instagram. The only one that we do, by the way, I will say this, the only one that we do migrate followers over is from TikTok to Instagram, just because you can have the Instagram in the bio there on TikTok. But besides that, all of the platforms and everywhere where we promote our clients, it is an automatic redirect to just OnlyFans. We don't try to kind of move them around. There definitely is truth to what you're saying, by the way. Yes, there are certain people that will see her on Reddit and think, okay, well, she's a hot chick, but is she real or not? And if they click on the link and it just takes them instantly to OnlyFans, they might not convert, as opposed to they click on the link and they have two options, OF or Instagram. They're like, oh, Instagram, there, I can see more of her. Click on Instagram, scroll, 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 scroll. Okay, now I'm interested, and then convert to OF. Yeah, case by case. But in my opinion, overall, I always would prefer just let's just get the traffic straight to OF.
Yeah. See, I think you have a really good point there because I think I need to split test that because on the other end of it, like I'm kind of funneling them to a spot where I can't like get the best like optimization because the model is running the account, right?
Do you
Because like
yes, yeah, exactly. Yeah,
yeah,
you're not in charge
yeah,
of
I
it.
think that can be
Another
yeah
thing as well, Fox, is if you are going to do this, how often do you like give them a reason to come and subscribe on her Instagram story? Do you know?
every 2 days.
Every 2 days? And do you like switch it up or is it just like come chat with me?
Yeah, I leave it up to like her creative nature because she's pretty creative. So she also goes live on her Instagram a lot too. So that kind of helps us like reinforce that the idea that she's real, like this is her, right?
Okay.
So it helps a lot. But I also think like it's almost like it's a crux to like have her run it herself, but it also helps. But I
Yeah.
think it can be like once I really start touching TikTok and Instagram, like I
Yeah.
think I should jump my subscribers tremendously because it's
So,
just I'm so focused on building my other platforms out and like making sure that they're so refined that I was telling you in the call, like I could step away right now. Like everything is running pretty smooth. But next week is going to be a step where like I need to start building these other platforms like TikTok, like Instagram. And then I probably need to grab the reins from her and be like, hey, you need to at least let me post on your Instagram account.
mm,
That way we can continue to grow. Because dude, it's crazy. Like the amount of followers we're getting on her Instagram. She
mm,
started at like 4,500 and we're up to 7,000.
mhm.
So she's growing like 1,500 followers a week. Like she's
Yeah.
doing really good. But the like I think we can optimize that conversion to get them to funnel better and then also grow that account more by posting the right reels, finding which ones work, and then replicating those reels
Well,
again.
Fox, on Instagram, by the way, it still get all my links, right? But
Yes.
is it the same as where once they click on it, they have two options, Instagram and OF?
Yeah, actually, you're right. Yeah, it is.
Okay, so change that. So definitely change that. And then the second thing that you can do as well is whenever you are promoting the OF on the story, at the end of the day, I think people forget like we are still, this is sales and marketing, right? So you need to sell the fuck out of why they should click on that link and subscribe
Yeah.
rather than just, hey, come chat with me. I'm live right now. Those are okay, right? But like, give them a reason. So obviously it was Easter. Just by the way, boys, like this worked really fucking well for us. I know it's obviously gone now, but I was speaking about it before anyway. It was Easter like 4 days ago, and we basically done like an Easter themed spin the wheel. We just ordered our clients like some bunny ears from Amazon, and they themselves got some like sexy outfit, which is like whatever. And we basically done like an Easter spin the wheel, and then on the story, Fox, we told them specifically, hey, I've never done this before. This is the first time ever I'm doing like this game. Blah blah blah. Come talk to me live, and you can win some exclusive
Yeah,
prizes.
that's a fucking perfect idea. That is so golden. Yeah.
So you either do that or you just say, hey, I'm doing it. I can't believe I'm doing this. I'm doing a 50% off for this weekend. Obviously, you can't do it every single weekend because then the followers are going to be like, all right, fuck off. Like, like you've said this last
Yeah.
weekend for the last 4 weekends in a row. But every now and then you can do like, I'm giving 50% off, or the next 5 people who subscribe, I'm going to give you something extra exclusive in the DMs. You know what I mean? You just give them something as to why
Yeah.
they should convert from Instagram.
Yeah. I think you're 100% right. So yeah, I've already made the change. So now the Instagram will directly route them to OnlyFans now. So that's
Legend.
changed. Cool.
Cool.
That makes perfect sense.
All right, folks. Legend. Cool. Guys, do you guys have any question? Who's got some questions? I can answer some more for half an hour. But yeah, Fox, you're doing very well, man. You're absolutely killing it.
Yeah, I think the conversation kind of opened me up to like realizing like it's time to take on Instagram and TikTok now
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
she has 10K followers on TikTok.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I have access to that account and I have a couple other TikTok accounts I've already made, but I've kind of just put myself on the back foot of it. So
Mm-hmm.
now, and I also, another thing, like with my model, I know she can be a little inconsistent with making reels. So I've been having her make reels and I haven't posted any of them. And I have about 65 or 70 reels sitting
Mm-hmm.
right now that I can just now I can go boom, 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 and really let them rip, figure out which ones work, and have them recreate those, and then continue to have content to continue to post. Because I don't like what I'm worried about is like her posts, like us getting going, and then her stop making them, and I run out of content. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I mean? I don't want to be stuck in the water. So that's kind of why I've done that.
That makes sense. All right, guys. Anybody have any question? Dennis, I've just seen your message right here. Yeah, I'll have a chat with you after this. Where do you build these websites on, by the way?
So it really depends. I'm testing out something new, which is kind of a way of building them very quick using both AI and a little bit of coding, which I know. And with the database, it's on Supabase.
Mm-hmm.
So it's something very, very simple, but it's exactly what like what we need, right?
Hmm.
Something very simple, very easy to use, just to have it there, like kind of a trust page. And yeah, I did it for myself, and I said, okay, it's very efficient and it looks very good.
Hmm.
And that's why I also left the link. That's mine. And I
Okay.
saw that it actually works because I've received some leads from there, and it's perfect because it gives you the email, the phone number, and everything, and then you can jump on the call with them right away. And
Yeah.
super simple, looks good, and it's easy for the ones that maybe don't have those, coding or
Yeah.
websites or time even.
Yeah.
Like I can do that
Yeah.
easily.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, we'll have a look. I'll speak to you if you could DM me on Discord as well. I'm definitely gonna have a look. That we're
Sure.
still working on the Go High Level sub account, so like the white label of the GHL, and in there are two website templates that I've already made. Well, I didn't make them, but I paid somebody to make them, and they're specifically like agency based websites, and that's going to be a part of it. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for people that don't pay for that and they're not in that kind of that software, then yeah, perhaps that could be an interesting offer that you could work with
That's
people.
also the main reason why I didn't want to just spam it into the
No, no, I
general chat.
appreciate it.
Respect for you guys. I wanted to ask you first.
Yep,
And yeah, but it's maybe something a little bit, of course, more simple. It's not as complex as the
sure,
ones that you will have, of
sure.
course. It's something more simple and AI integrated. So
Hmm.
that's about it. But sure, I will DM you on
Cool.
Discord.
Legend. Okay, cool. Well, guys, if nobody has any questions, we'll wrap it up here. This was really good, Fox. Hopefully, you got some value. I think a lot of people listen to this as well. You guys can take some inspiration and some value from what me and Fox spoke about earlier. Have an amazing weekend, everybody, and we'll catch up again on Tuesday. All right, peace. Bye, guys.